So in this session, we will be talking about transport, because transport is another unique one as well. So with transport, we are pretty much aware by this point that it comes with its own rules as well. We have stated that certain instances in transport are either exempt or they're standard rated or zero rated, depending on where we are in terms of transport. So there will be the situation that can arise. Maybe I can try to paint a clearer picture for you to actually just maybe have a rough idea of how to look at this transport issue. You can have, maybe let's say Gautrain has a service of the actual Gautrain service, right, which is a rail service, but over and above the rail service, they've got the actual service of buses, which is the per road service. Over and above the per road service and rail service, they additionally now have a service where they actually are in the business of actually like owning aircraft. You know, they own aircrafts. So they do local travel with the aircrafts, and they also do international travel as well. And they also own commercial accommodation in the form of hotels, where some of their clients get to basically, enjoy the services of or the actual accommodation part that is owned by Gautrain hotels. Let's just call it that. Let's call it Gau hotels, basically. Then we also have another situation where these guys, they own a game lodge. Let's call it Gau game, basically, where they've got a game lodge. Right. So the service per road and per rate, so far as transport is concerned, and it's for fare paying passengers, because people that are using that service is for fare paying passengers, right? So if it's for fare paying passengers, and these guys have buses and mini buses for the transport part, that would make it an exempt supply. Even if the buses are not denied supply because they happen to be buses which is not a vehicle or motor vehicle as defined, therefore it's not a denied supply. However, it's still an exempt supply because the actual bus is being used for an exempt service. Fare paying passengers per road or rail, so the rail system is also an exempt service because it's fare paying customers that they have within that rail service. Right. So now we move over to the aircraft, aircraft that they actually own. They've got local aircraft travel, and they've also got international aircraft travel as well. So local aircraft travel is actually a standard rated supply as per air, because it's air. So transport per air, which is local, it's standard rated. So what do these guys have in terms of like the type of supplies that they have? So far we've determined that and concluded that the part of rail and the service of fare paying passengers on the buses and mini buses, it's an exempt supply. And now they also happen to have aircrafts for local and international. So the local part of those aircrafts is actually travel, is actually a standard rated supply. Whereas the international part of those aircrafts is actually an export of a service, which is zero rated supply, right? So now we've got exempt supplies over and above the fact. Then with the aircraft, we've got two services, one being standard rated supply for local travel, and the export part being a zero rated supply because it's an export of a service which is zero rated. Over and above this, they've got Gau hotels, which is commercial accommodation to them. So this also makes that a standard rated supply. They also have Gau game, which is a game reserve, but within how game, they've got transport that they use for their actual clients that they would have transported from their actual airport for no fee, because it's an all-inclusive fee. Let's say it's an all-inclusive fee where the client would have paid for an all-inclusive fee for their air ticket, for their hotel accommodation, for their actual uh, game reserve drives. They would have paid that all-inclusive fee. So the part of the service that was offered as per the export of a service would have been a zero-rated supply. We don't care about the leg, whether it's from Brazil coming to Australia, or from Australia come from Brazil to South Africa, or South Africa to Brazil. It doesn't really matter. As long as there's that leg in South Africa, it's deemed to be an export of a service. Right. So now let's look at it from the point where this guy is coming from Brazil and is basically coming into South Africa and using how international aircrafts. And that's a zero-rated supply. Then subsequently, he gets to the airport. At the airport, he gets basically transported over by the bus, which is a service bus. But within the service bus, he's going to the actual hotel. But the driver that's driving him to the actual hotel, if you look at his situation, let's switch to the bus driver now. The bus driver driving the actual gentleman to the thing, so far as how the company is concerned, it's actually, what kind of supply is it to him? So far as, yes, it's an exempt supply, because it's still, however, it's not an exempt supply to the company, but it's in the form of a taxable supply, because that bus is not specifically used for fare-paying passengers. If you can look at it that way. Let's say they've got a rule at how travel that says, we give you the bus ride for free. That inclusive amount that they pay does not really include the bus fare, the bus fare, and the bus fare that will also, so and the also transport fees that will be incurred within the game reserve as well. That's given. Let's not twist it from this. Let's actually use the same client. The client has paid for the ticket. The ticket comprises of the air travel fare, and it comprises of the hotel fare as well, and the game reserve fare as well. So the actual bus that actually fetches him from the hotel, from the actual airport to the hotel, is basically a free service offered by the company. And the actual part where he gets a free bus ride at the game reserve is also a free service. So it's not. So in that instance, we have a standard rated supply. It's not an exempt supply, because that bus is not used for fare-paying passengers, because he's not being charged to be transported from the actual hotel to go to from actual airport to go to his hotel. And from his hotel, let's assume he still uses the same bus and he gets transported to the game reserve. There's still no fare-paying charge to the actual client as well. So that's still a standard rated supply. In that regard, you can claim that for that particular bus service or the bus cost as well. Wherever he gets to the actual game lodge and he uses the bus rides which are also there, in that instance as well, we can also claim taxable VAT for those buses, because it's not an exempt supply that are used for a taxable service within the actual game reserve, which is not really an exempt service, and it's commercial in that instance, if you can also maybe add that. So this company would have like all of these like principles, and that would be unique. They've got exempt supplies, they've got zero-rated supplies, they've got taxable supplies, so it's quite unique in that sense. The only thing that would be missing. Yes, they also denied supplies because we denied. No, we don't have a denied supply as such. We don't have a denied supply, even though they were denied to recognize the bus service that it's been used as the fare paying passengers for the road and rail, you know. So the road part is still not a denied supply because those are not motor vehicles as defined, so they would not be denied supplies, even though they would have been deemed to be an exempt supply because in that instance they would have been charging fare paying passengers. So just be very aware of that. So it's a very unique situation that basically should make you aware of what to think about when you're dealing with transport. So we won't go into too many examples. We'll likely just close it with this part, and I'll maybe just put on a small example on the board about what to also look out for in terms of travel per air. So let's maybe get into that.